Love is a wonderful thing, but it is not always simple. There are moments when you feel like you understand everything, but then there are times when you feel confused and lost. So how to overcome the challenges in love? Have you ever wondered what goes through a man's mind after walking away from someone he once loved deeply? The silence that follows a breakup can be deafening, filled with questions that never seem to have answers. Did I make the right decision? Will she be happier without me? Can anyone ever love me the way she did? These thoughts haunt him long after the relationship ends, forcing him to reflect on not just the love he lost, but the man he could have been. Join me as we dive into the 6 most powerful thoughts that keep a man awake at night after losing the woman he once cherished. Welcome to the channel, Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is where we will explore, learn, and share valuable lessons about love. In today's video, Sophia will reveal to you 6 thoughts of men after leaving the woman they used to love. Let's explore with Sophia the secrets to building a strong and meaningful love. Before we begin, find a quiet place, put on your headphones and relax. Let all your worries go away, and let the messages in this video help you calm down and feel the most complete. Are you ready? Let's start now. Number 1. Did I make the decision too hastily? In the quiet moments after a breakup, when the noise of anger and disappointment fades, many men are haunted by a lingering question: did I make the decision too hastily? It is a question that echoes in their minds, sometimes for months or even years after walking away from someone they once loved deeply. While pride and logic often push men to justify their actions, the heart has its own way of whispering doubts when everything else becomes silent. At the moment of separation, emotions often run high. A heated argument, a misunderstanding, or an accumulation of unspoken frustrations can lead to impulsive decisions. In those intense emotional storms, walking away can feel like a necessary act of self-preservation. It feels decisive. It feels powerful. But once the adrenaline fades, what remains is often a profound emptiness and a gnawing uncertainty. Men are often taught to suppress their feelings, to value decisiveness, and to avoid second-guessing themselves. Yet when it comes to matters of the heart, even the strongest can falter. When he sees her laugh in a photo, or when a familiar song plays on the radio, memories flood back, memories that do not align with the cold finality of the breakup. In those moments, the mind replays everything: the good days, the quiet support, the small sacrifices she made, the dreams they once built together. And so, he wonders, was I too impatient? Did I expect perfection without acknowledging her efforts? Did I demand understanding without offering enough in return? It is easy to believe that something better awaits after leaving a relationship that feels difficult. The illusion that happiness is just one decision away can be very tempting. However, reality often teaches a harsher lesson. No relationship is free from challenges. True connection requires work, patience, and a willingness to grow together through the imperfect moments. Walking away might bring temporary relief, but it also means giving up the opportunity to build something deeper. Regret does not come all at once. It creeps in during lonely evenings and unexpected moments. It comes when new relationships lack the magic of the old one, when casual conversations with strangers feel hollow compared to the intimacy that was lost. It comes when he realizes that genuine love is not easily found, and that sometimes, it is even harder to recreate. Sometimes, men rationalize their decision by listing her flaws or blaming the relationship's struggles solely on her. It is easier to shift the responsibility than to face the possibility that they, too, contributed to the downfall. But with enough time and emotional distance, many come to realize that blame is rarely one-sided. They start seeing her efforts more clearly, recognizing the moments she stayed when things were hard, the times she forgave when she could have walked away. The question, "Did I make the decision too hastily?" becomes heavier with every realization. It becomes a mirror that forces him to confront not just the loss of a relationship, but the loss of a part of himself, the part that believed in working things out, in fighting for love, in being vulnerable. However, not every man answers this question the same way. Some use it as fuel for growth. They look at their mistakes not to wallow in regret but to ensure they never repeat them. They learn to communicate better, to listen more deeply, to value partnership over pride. Others, unfortunately, become trapped in a cycle of guilt and longing, unable to move forward because they are haunted by what might have been. The truth is, relationships often end for valid reasons. But the speed at which decisions are made, especially under emotional pressure, can sometimes prevent people from fully understanding those reasons. Taking time to reflect before ending a relationship, seeking closure through honest conversation, and considering the bigger picture beyond immediate emotions can prevent a lifetime of wondering what if. For men who find themselves grappling with this question, it is important to give themselves grace. Growth rarely happens without pain. Self-awareness comes at a cost, but it is an investment in future relationships, in becoming a better partner, and ultimately, a better version of oneself. Perhaps the most honest answer to "Did I make the decision too hastily?" is this: if the decision was made without fully understanding, without communicating openly, without trying every reasonable effort to salvage something worthwhile, then yes, it was hasty. But if the relationship had reached a point where staying meant losing oneself, compromising values, or living in unhappiness, then leaving was an act of courage, even if the road to peace is long. In the end, love is never simple. Walking away from someone you once loved will always leave a scar. But whether that scar represents regret or growth depends on what you choose to learn from it. If you use the pain to become wiser, more patient, and more compassionate, then even a hasty decision can lead to a stronger future. Because sometimes, the true tragedy is not in making a mistake, but in refusing to grow from it. What do you think about this? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. I look forward to hearing from you and discussing further. Don't forget to like if you find this content useful and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future posts. Thank you very much. Let's continue together. Number 2. Does she still think about me? After the dust of a breakup settles, and the busy distractions fade into the background, a quiet question often rises to the surface of a man's mind: does she still think about me? It is a thought that lingers like a soft whisper, persistent and haunting, especially in the stillness of late nights or the lonely moments between conversations. Even if he was the one who initiated the breakup, even if he walked away convinced it was the right decision, the human heart is not built for clean, easy endings. Connections, once deeply formed, do not simply vanish. They leave traces in the mind, echoes in the soul. And so, a man wonders, despite the silence, despite the physical distance, whether he still holds a space in her thoughts the way she occupies his. At first, pride often intervenes. It convinces him that she must be moving on, that she must be doing better without him. Pride tells him to suppress the longing, to dismiss the curiosity as weakness. But no matter how much he tries to bury it, the question continues to resurface. Was he as forgettable as he sometimes fears? Or is there a part of her that misses him too? The truth is, emotional bonds do not unravel in a single day. They are made of shared memories, inside jokes, quiet mornings, and plans for a future that may now never come. No matter how strong or independent she is, if she truly loved him, it is likely that pieces of him still linger in her mind as well. Love leaves an imprint that time may soften, but never fully erase. Men often hide this vulnerable side. They tell themselves they have moved on, that thinking about her is a waste of energy. But when they hear a song she used to hum, or when they walk past a place where they shared a meaningful moment, the memories flood in. They wonder if she, too, feels the same bittersweet pull when reminders of their time together cross her path. Sometimes, he imagines her late at night, lying in bed, scrolling through old photos or reading old messages. He wonders if she ever pauses, even for a second, to think about what they had. It is a tender hope, rooted not in arrogance, but in the deeply human desire to know that he mattered. Social media adds another complicated layer. A photo of her laughing with friends might trigger conflicting emotions, happiness that she is smiling again, and a pang of sadness that her world continues without him. He might resist the urge to check her profiles, to search for hidden meanings in her posts, to interpret her happiness as either genuine or performative. But deep down, he knows that real emotions are rarely visible online. The idea that she could be thinking about him offers a strange kind of comfort. It suggests that their story meant something, that it was not easily replaceable. It reassures him that despite the mistakes, despite the way things ended, there was real love between them, love that does not dissolve simply because the relationship did. Yet, with time, the nature of his wondering evolves. It is no longer just about whether she thinks of him, but about how she thinks of him. Does she remember the warmth of his embrace, the nights they spent dreaming of a future? Or does she mostly remember the arguments, the misunderstandings, the ways they failed each other? Memory is a complicated thing. It is selective, emotional, and ever-changing. For some men, the question, "Does she still think about me?" becomes a catalyst for reflection. It pushes them to confront their actions, to see themselves through her eyes. It leads to growth, to an understanding that being unforgettable is not just about passion and grand gestures, but about how you made someone feel on a daily basis. Others, however, become trapped by this question. They cling to the past, hoping for a sign, a message, a chance to rekindle what was lost. They measure their worth through her continued affection, forgetting that true healing comes not from external validation, but from within. Ultimately, whether or not she still thinks about him is something he may never truly know. Life moves forward. People heal, change, and build new lives. She might think of him fondly, or with sadness, or maybe only occasionally as a chapter in her story. And that is part of the painful beauty of love. Once shared, it becomes a permanent part of both people, even if their paths diverge. Instead of obsessing over the answer, the wiser path is to honor what they shared and allow both of them the freedom to grow. To be grateful for the lessons, the love, the laughter, and even the heartbreak. To understand that being thought of is less important than having genuinely connected, even if only for a season. In the end, the real question a man must ask himself is not, "Does she still think about me?" but rather, "Am I becoming someone worth remembering?" Because the truest measure of love's impact is not in how often we cross each other's minds, but in how deeply we shaped each other's hearts. And when he becomes someone better, stronger, and kinder because of that shared love, then the answer, in some silent, profound way, will always be yes. If you are still watching the video, do not hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions below in the comment section. I look forward to hearing your opinions, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that Sophia has more motivation to create more good and meaningful videos. Let's continue together. Number 3. Will she be happier without me? After the end of a relationship, a man may find himself grappling with a painful and humbling question: will she be happier without me? It is not a question born of arrogance, nor of selfishness, but one rooted in genuine concern, guilt, and often a bittersweet acceptance of reality. When two people love each other, they intertwine their lives, their dreams, and even their emotional well-being. Being part of someone's life means you carry a certain weight in their happiness. After a breakup, especially one filled with unresolved tension or lingering affection, it is natural for a man to wonder if his presence was more of a burden than a blessing. In the immediate aftermath, pride often blinds him. He tells himself that she will miss him, that she will realize what she lost. He imagines her regretting the breakup, longing for his company. But over time, as emotions settle and clarity emerges, the more difficult thoughts begin to surface. Maybe she is laughing more now. Maybe she is rediscovering pieces of herself that she had set aside to make the relationship work. Maybe, just maybe, she is finding peace in the freedom he could not give her. This realization can be crushing. It forces a man to look at himself not as the hero of the story, but as a chapter she had to close in order to find her happiness. It demands brutal honesty, an admission that love alone is not always enough, that sometimes our best intentions still fall short, and that sometimes, letting someone go is the most loving thing we can do for them. He remembers the times he was distant when she needed closeness. He recalls the moments he chose work, pride, or fear over her heart. He replays the arguments where he raised his voice when he should have listened. Memory, once rose-colored, now highlights the ways he might have contributed to her unhappiness. And so, he wonders if by stepping out of her life, he has finally given her the space to breathe, to grow, to smile without the shadow of their struggles hanging over her. Some men resist this thought. They cling to the idea that no one else could make her happier than they did, that their love was irreplaceable. But the truth, hard and necessary, is that love should not feel like suffocation. It should not leave a person smaller, sadder, or more insecure. True love uplifts, empowers, and nurtures, and if a relationship consistently failed to do that, then its ending, however painful, was an act of mercy. Thinking about her potential happiness without him is not about self-loathing or wallowing in regret. It is about recognizing that love is not possession. Love is wishing someone well, even if their path no longer includes you. There is a particular kind of maturity in accepting that you might have been wrong for someone, not because you did not love them, but because love alone does not erase incompatibility, unhealed wounds, or different life visions. Two good people can still be wrong for each other. And sometimes, the hardest thing to accept is that your role in someone's life was not to stay forever, but to teach, to learn, and to eventually set them free. For a man who asks himself, "Will she be happier without me?" there is a deeper journey unfolding. It is a journey of growth, of facing uncomfortable truths, and of using the pain of loss as a catalyst to become better, not to win her back, but to honor what they had. Because happiness is not a competition. It is not about whether she smiles brighter with someone else. It is about knowing that, at one point in time, you were part of her story. That you shared laughter, dreams, and real moments. And if stepping away allows her to find a deeper, more enduring happiness, then perhaps that is a final, selfless act of love. Sometimes he will hear about her from mutual friends. He will see her flourishing, achieving her goals, glowing in a way she had not before. His heart will ache, but mixed with the sadness will be a quiet, bittersweet pride. Because he will understand that true love is not measured by holding on, but by knowing when to let go. There will be nights when he misses her, when memories come rushing back with unbearable force. There will be moments of doubt, of wondering what could have been if he had done things differently. But with time, if he allows himself to heal, he will come to see that her happiness is not a condemnation of him. It is not proof that he failed. It is simply proof that both of them needed to find their own paths toward wholeness. In the end, the answer to "will she be happier without me?" may very well be yes. And that is okay. Because love, in its truest form, is not about possession or control. It is about wanting the best for someone, even if the best life for them is one where you are no longer by their side. And in accepting that, a man does not diminish himself. He elevates himself. He learns to love more deeply, more selflessly, and with greater wisdom in the future. Because real strength is not just in loving someone while you are together. It is in continuing to love them, quietly and honorably, even as you let them go. Number 4. If only I had matured sooner. There comes a moment after the end of a meaningful relationship when a man sits alone with his thoughts and whispers to himself, "If only I had matured sooner." It is not a dramatic confession or a plea for sympathy. It is an honest, often painful realization that growth sometimes comes too late to save the things we once held dear. When he was younger, or perhaps simply more selfish, he believed love would be enough. He thought passion could patch over misunderstandings. He assumed loyalty could survive neglect, and that forgiveness could endure repeated disappointments. He believed that if two people cared enough, everything else would somehow fall into place. But real love, lasting love, demands something more than just feelings. It demands responsibility. It demands patience. It demands the kind of maturity that does not always come naturally, especially to those still fighting silent battles within themselves. He thinks back to the countless moments where immaturity quietly poisoned what they had. The times he prioritized pride over communication. The nights he chose silence over vulnerability. The arguments where he cared more about being right than about being kind. The times he took her presence for granted, assuming she would always be there, waiting, forgiving, enduring. He remembers how she tried. How she gave him chances to step up, to listen, to change. She did not leave at the first sign of trouble. She stayed, hoping he would meet her halfway, hoping he would choose growth over comfort. But he was too busy chasing distractions, too afraid to confront his flaws, too convinced that love meant never having to change. And now, sitting in the quiet aftermath, he understands. He sees that love without maturity is like building a home on sand. It may stand for a time, beautiful and full of promise, but it cannot withstand the inevitable storms. He realizes that loving her meant more than just feeling affection. It meant showing up for her consistently, especially when it was hard. It meant apologizing without excuses. It meant choosing her not just in moments of passion, but in moments of inconvenience. If only I had matured sooner, he thinks, knowing that growth delayed often means love lost. There is a unique kind of regret that comes with realizing you were the right person for someone, but at the wrong time in your life. It is not about not loving them enough. It is about not being enough, yet. Not strong enough to manage your own demons. Not selfless enough to prioritize the relationship when it mattered. Not wise enough to recognize that love is fragile, and that taking it for granted is the fastest way to destroy it. He wonders who he would be today if he had faced his fears earlier, if he had learned to communicate better, if he had sought help instead of hiding behind anger or indifference. He imagines a version of himself who could have been her partner in the way she deserved, a man who supported her dreams, who made her feel safe, who built a future with her instead of walls between them. But life does not offer do-overs. It only offers lessons. Some men get stuck in this regret, replaying every mistake, punishing themselves endlessly for what they lost. Others choose differently. They honor the pain by using it as fuel for change. They become the man they should have been, not to win her back, not to soothe their guilt, but because growth is owed not just to the people we hurt, but to ourselves. If only I had matured sooner becomes not just a lament, but a vow. A vow to be better in the future. A vow to never again let pride, fear, or selfishness destroy something precious. A vow to carry the lessons of loss into every relationship that follows. And maybe, just maybe, there is a bittersweet kind of redemption in that. Because while we cannot change the past, we can change who we are because of it. We can love more deeply. We can listen more carefully. We can show up more consistently. We can become the partner we once failed to be. In doing so, we honor the person we lost. We acknowledge that their love was not wasted, even if the relationship ended. It planted seeds of growth that, with time and effort, will bloom into a better man, a better partner, a better human being. Perhaps somewhere, she is growing too. Perhaps she, too, carries lessons from what they shared. Perhaps both of them, in their separate journeys, are finding strength, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of what it truly means to love. If only I had matured sooner is a heavy burden to carry. but it does not have to be a chain that holds him back. It can be a stepping stone, a painful, necessary catalyst for becoming someone capable of loving not just more, but better. Because true maturity is not about never making mistakes. It is about learning from them so deeply that you never make them again. And sometimes, growing up means accepting that you were the villain in someone else's love story. And choosing, from this moment on, to become the hero of your own. Number 5. Will anyone ever love me as much as she did? After a breakup, especially one where love was real but timing or circumstances were wrong, a man often faces a haunting question: will anyone ever love me as much as she did? It is not a question of vanity. It is not about craving attention or admiration. It is about the deep human yearning to be seen, understood, and loved without conditions, the way she once did. In a world that often feels shallow and transactional, her love stood out. It was not perfect, but it was genuine. It was the kind of love that stayed during storms, that forgave flaws, that believed in his better self even when he struggled to see it himself. She saw his potential. She celebrated his victories, however small, and stood by him during his failures, however painful. And now, with her gone, he is left wondering if that kind of love is something that comes around twice in one lifetime. At first, he tries to brush it off. He tells himself there are plenty of people out there. New relationships, new experiences, surely he will find someone else who can love him just as much, maybe even more. But deep down, he knows that love is not a mass-produced experience. It is rare. It is handcrafted through shared struggles, laughter, pain, and vulnerability. She knew the small things, the way he drank his coffee, the songs that made him emotional, the dreams he was too embarrassed to share with the world. She understood the silent ways he asked for comfort, the hidden battles he fought inside his mind. She did not just love his strengths, she loved his imperfections too. And now, as he meets new people, he feels the difference. Conversations may be fun, flirtations may be exciting, but the depth, the soul-deep connection, is missing. It takes time to build what he once had, but the fear lingers. Maybe no one else will ever look at him the way she did. Maybe no one else will hold space for his broken parts the way she did, with patience instead of judgment. This thought terrifies him more than loneliness itself. Because loneliness can be filled with activity, with noise, with distractions. But the absence of being deeply loved is a silence that no amount of busyness can drown out. He replays memories, not to torture himself, but to feel close to the kind of love he now fears he may have lost forever. He remembers her sacrifices, the times she put his needs above her own, the moments she believed in their future even when circumstances seemed to conspire against them. He wonders if he fully appreciated her while he had her. If he said thank you enough. If he showed her, not just told her, how much her love meant. Because the truth is, many men do not realize how deeply they were loved until they are standing in the aftermath, surrounded by echoes instead of presence. And now, the question lingers, will anyone else love him with that same fierce, forgiving, unwavering devotion? It is a dangerous question, because it can lead to two paths. One is despair, the belief that he has already experienced his greatest love and that nothing ahead will ever measure up. This path leads to cynicism, guardedness, and emotional isolation. The other path is gratitude, recognizing that to have been loved so deeply even once is a profound blessing, a rare experience that many long for and never find. If he chooses gratitude, he can honor her love by becoming the man she always believed he could be. He can carry the lessons of her love forward, learning to love others with the same depth, patience, and kindness she showed him. Not by trying to replace her, but by allowing her love to plant seeds of growth within him. He realizes that love is not something we deserve. It is something we earn through who we become. Her love was not a random accident. It was a response to something real inside him, something worth loving, even if he could not always see it himself. That part of him still exists. It is not tied to her presence. It is something he can nurture and share again when the right person crosses his path. Maybe no one will love him exactly the way she did. But maybe someone will love him differently, not better or worse, just differently. Maybe the next great love will be more balanced, more mature, more sustainable. Not because she was lacking, but because he will be more ready to meet love fully, having learned from his past. In the quietest moments, he realizes that love is not about finding someone who replicates a past experience. It is about being open enough, brave enough, and vulnerable enough to create new experiences, new bonds, new depths. So he stops asking if anyone will ever love him as much as she did. He starts asking if he will have the courage to love again with the same openness he once knew. To risk his heart, knowing it can be broken. To believe in connection, even after loss. And when he does, when he loves without fear, without comparison, without regret. He honors the love she once gave him in the most beautiful way possible. He proves that love, once truly received, never really leaves us. It becomes part of who we are. And it helps us love even better the next time. Number 6. I lost someone truly special. There is a particular kind of silence that follows the end of a great love, a silence that no noise can fill. It is in that silence that a man often faces the hardest truth of all: I lost someone truly special. Not someone ordinary. Not just another fleeting connection. But someone who touched the deepest parts of his soul, someone who left fingerprints on his very being. At first, pride may shield him from this realization. He tells himself that there will be others, that the world is full of people, that moving on is simply a matter of time. He buries himself in work, in friendships, in distractions. But true loss is not something you can outrun. It follows quietly, patiently. It waits for the moments when he is alone with his thoughts, when the facade cracks, when the weight of absence finally settles on his shoulders. And when it does, he feels it fully. He feels the difference between losing someone he liked and losing someone he once imagined building a lifetime with. She was not perfect. Neither was he. But there was something rare in what they shared, something that cannot be easily explained or replicated. It was not just about attraction or compatibility. It was about the way she understood him without words, the way her presence calmed the storms he carried inside, the way she believed in his dreams even when he had doubts. She was the kind of woman who listened deeply, not just to his words but to the spaces between them. She noticed the things he thought no one ever would. She loved not just the man he was, but the man he was striving to become. And now, without her, the world feels somehow less vibrant, less full. He remembers the way she laughed at his worst jokes, the way she encouraged his ambitions, the way she stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. He remembers the softness in her voice when she said, "I believe in you," words that meant more than she could ever know. He remembers her patience, her kindness, her fierce loyalty. And in remembering, he understands just how rare she was. It is one thing to lose someone you loved. It is another thing entirely to lose someone you knew deep down was irreplaceable. At first, he may try to find her in other people. He dates, he flirts, he seeks comfort in new connections. But he quickly realizes that what they shared was not something that could be duplicated. It was something born from time, trust, and 1,000 small moments that built an invisible bond between them. He feels the absence not just in the big moments, but in the small, everyday rituals that no longer feel the same. Morning coffee tastes different without her sitting across the table. Long drives feel lonelier without her hand resting gently in his. Victories feel a little emptier without her as the first person he wants to call. And so, he comes to terms with the truth: he lost someone truly special. It is a humbling realization. It forces him to confront his own shortcomings, the ways he took her for granted, the times he failed to say thank you, the moments he chose pride over vulnerability. It forces him to admit that special people do not come around often, and when they do, they deserve to be cherished, protected, and prioritized. Regret becomes a quiet companion, not screaming but whispering at the edges of his days. He does not regret loving her. He regrets not loving her better. Not showing up more fully. Not appreciating the extraordinary gift he had while he had it. But if he is wise, he will not let that regret consume him. He will let it teach him. He will learn that special people are not guarantees. They are rare blessings. He will learn that love is not just about feeling deeply, but about acting thoughtfully. He will learn that when you find someone who touches your soul, you must hold them with gratitude, not complacency. And maybe, if life is kind, he will cross paths with someone special again. Maybe he will be ready next time, ready to love with more patience, more humility, more courage. Maybe he will be able to offer the kind of love he once received but did not fully know how to return. Until then, he carries her memory like a quiet prayer. Not a burden, but a reminder. A reminder of what is possible. A reminder of how deeply two people can connect when love is real and raw and unguarded. He knows now that he lost someone truly special. And that knowledge, painful as it is, has the power to shape him into someone better, someone stronger, someone more worthy of the next special soul who chooses to love him. Because real loss, if faced with honesty and grace, can become the foundation of real growth. And sometimes, losing someone truly special is what finally teaches a man how to become someone truly special himself. Conclusion. In the aftermath of a lost love, a man is often left with a collection of questions and reflections, each one serving as a reminder of what was, what could have been, and what still could be. The questions, did I make the decision too hastily, or will she be happier without me, echo in his mind, tugging at his emotions and forcing him to confront not only the relationship but also himself. Each thought reveals a deeper layer of self-awareness and growth, as he begins to understand that love is not a simple possession but a journey of connection, vulnerability, and learning. When he asks, will anyone ever love me as much as she did, he acknowledges the rarity of the bond they shared and the unique way she touched his life. But he also realizes that while no one may love him in exactly the same way, love can still come, different and new, if he is open to it. The true gift lies in accepting that love evolves and that his worth isn't defined by the past, but by his ability to grow from it. And finally, in realizing that he lost someone truly special, he learns the most valuable lesson: true love is not about perfection but about presence, patience, and a willingness to grow alongside each other. He is left with a choice: to be consumed by regret or to use the lessons of the past to become a better man, ready to embrace the future with a heart that is wiser, kinder, and more open than before. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. Hopefully the sharing about love and lessons from this video will help you have new thoughts and find empathy. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share it with those around you. Each of us has our own stories about love, and I'm happy to explore them with you. See you in the next videos. Wish you a wonderful and loving day.